We walked in and the energy was beautiful in here, and we both said that. And Bob also approached me and said, the energy is beautiful here today. I said, yes. And Ivan just a moment ago whispered to me, he said, you know what's so beautiful about this group today? I said, what is it? He said, there's so much trauma here. Very unexpected answer, right? Yeah, but you know, of course nobody wants trauma. But it is beautiful because that's what makes us beautiful. You know, what does Rumi say? That pain serves the function of refining our souls. Yeah. And I was just talking to Julian a moment ago, and I said, you know, some people think that it's like this whole new age paradigm, thinking that as long as we remain positive and loving and have the vision board and think all beautiful things, that we're just going to manifest beauty in our lives and nothing bad will happen. But that's bullshit, really. It doesn't work like that. There's so many factors that play into it. So many, including karmic factors, you know, and including our own conscious will and where we want to go and what we want to do. Like I got recruited last night in my dream, right?
Yeah,
by
of
the
course.
aliens. But it's what I said to you, right, is that sometimes the more work we do, so the higher we elevate our consciousness, the deeper we go into the darkness as well. And that's how it works. So we actually, so it's not always just going to be beautiful, fluffy clouds. Sometimes it's going to be lots of heavy shit. Yeah. Yeah, it's all part of it. It's all beautiful. Ivan says, can you love your shit? That's his famous phrase. Can you love everything, even your shit?
Can you love shit? Yeah, exactly. And can you love your past? That's the question. Can you love it? Can you say, I love you? And thank you. Thank you for being in my reality. Thank you for the story. Thank you for the imprints. Thank you for everyone who inflicted pain, and I inflicted pain. Thank you for me for inflicting pain with others.
Thank
because
you
you
for
play
refining my
important
soul.
part.
Yeah.
You played important part in someone's journey towards the one. And we are all on the same boat. We are all on the same ship, in relationship, traveling towards one. And where's the one? One is inside. It's you, the way you are, original and existential. Not the projected one, not the thinking one. Because the thinking one is dualistic. That's positive, negative. I want the best, but my shadow is following me. Can you get rid of shadow? No, it's there. I accept my shadow in physical reality. Can I accept my psychological shadow? And that's the task. That's the mission. That's why I said, can you say thank you to your shadow? Because it's following, it's reminding you to find a balance in your life. It's not positive, it's not negative, it's the middle point. And because of it, I used to suffer from duality. You know, going into extreme, one or the other. Thanks to Lana, I grounded myself. And after my experience in Halifax, when I was unconscious, I was not eating and sleeping for 5 days, and I fell unconscious, and I regained my consciousness. And that's where I understand the middle point. What's the middle point? The middle point is you, right now. Not in your mind, attached to your past and locked in the story that's not yours, even though you contributed to that story, but it is a story from other people. Because other people gave you the idea and assumptions of who you are, and you took that voluntarily as you didn't know how to do it differently. And then you start playing and acting according to that projection. At one point in time, the bell will ring.
Yeah.
And you're going to open the parachute. and you're going to dive into your unconsciousness. Try to find that balance within. Try to say thank you to your darkness. Because if you don't accept your shadow, who is going to accept it? God is not going to say anything. It's out of the equation. It's your task. It's your mission. It's your story. It's your quest to come to yourself. So right now you are. So we have to remember this. We have to remember that we are right now. And that's the portal for all the goodness in life. Because goodness is in the middle point. It's not good and bad. It's ultimate goodness. Meaning, I am alive. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm grateful.
Thank you.
But talking about trauma, we just, last couple of months, we were talking about trauma. It's not just trauma from this life, emotional attachment, from the emotional wounds, that trauma. But trauma is much deeper than that. And we carry those traumas in our psyche, trying to resolve, trying to understand, being driven by those traumas, not knowing what, impulses make us do this or do that and suffer this way or that way. And Lana can talk about that, trauma.
I could talk forever about trauma. As a therapist, I'm a trauma specialist, but I don't want to do that. I just want to say that, as Ivan said, trauma runs much deeper. In fact, Ivan, you are the one who told me that you experienced the trauma of conception of the separation from the divine, separation from oneness. It can be as old as that, or it can be as new as something traumatic recently happened to you.
Or your birth.
And your birth.
Birth is the first trauma in this reality.
In this reality. Actually, in my first psilocybin journey, as not the one that I was running, but the one that I was participating, like you are now.
Oh, you were doing it in jacuzzi. I would like to
know.
Next time you're going to make journey in jacuzzi.
We need a huge one. And I experienced the trauma of my birth, and I could not believe how traumatic it was. I begged the mother to not let me go, the physical mother and the divine mother. I didn't want to, because it was just so beautiful to be one with her, right? And she told me, well, you wanted this, you volunteered for this, so it's too late now. You have to get out, right? And of course, and she told me much more. She actually told me to do this as well. But what we most struggle with in this life, at least on a somewhat conscious level, is the trauma from early childhood.
No, but it's obvious. But that trauma, sorry, darling, trauma is linked with your past traumas, past life trauma. Otherwise, you will not. That trauma will not be, significant in your life, because there is a link. You are coming here to learn the lesson that you haven't learned before. You have to pass the test. Which
is why you're saying we need to be thankful to it, because it came as lessons. It's lessons that we chose, as that's what karmic debt is about. We don't believe, but the simplistic, naive, almost infantile concept of karma that often you encounter in New Age way of thinking, you did something bad, so you have to suffer. It's just, to me, that's a kind of childlike view of morality, It's not like that. It's not at all like that. It's about, you haven't learned some lessons, so you just have to have them repeated so you can learn them.
And what kind of lessons you're learning? You're learning lessons to be yourself.
And how to love yourself fully so that you can love the world. Because we all love, that's all. That's what it's all about. It's all about returning to our original state, which is love. And we get lost a little bit, and we do all of these things to try to find our way back. But it's all about that.
It's all about ultimately accepting yourself the way you are. Whatever you are, however you are. You might be miserable, you might be happy. I accept my happiness. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong? Me attaching myself to something I'm not. I have to distance myself from everything that I'm not and be myself and accept my reality as it is, because it's me. You are me, I'm you. There's no difference between me and you. yeah, on the physical, we can talk about difference in body and mind and this and that, but on the soul level, on the conscious level, we are all a spark of light, and we are connected. We are brothers and sisters. We are one. So coming to that is a task.
And you know what, pardon me, talking about accepting and loving even your traumatic experiences and even those who inflicted trauma on you, I just feel like I have a urge to say something else about that. Lots of, all established religions actually teach us to forgive, right? And that's what it's about. But what they don't teach us is that you can't just jump into forgiveness before you are actually angry and hate and wounded. They don't teach us that. So people end up feeling guilty about not forgiving, or people end up in a spiritual bypass, kind of pretending to themselves that they have forgiven to someone, but they haven't, because they haven't actually honored and acknowledged their raw feelings of resentment and anger and rage and hatred. Those are all okay. That's what I want to say too. I don't want to just propagate this. We all love, but we need to arrive there through the darkness, through the pain. It's okay to be angry to those who wounded you. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with you for that. You're not a bad person for that. Mm-hmm. But when you can accept even that anger, that rage, murderousness inside of you, and love even that, that's where the transformation happens, and you actually are able to love the perpetrator and to love the experience. So it's a process, and be patient with yourselves. You're not supposed to jump into it. Mm. That's what I want to say. That's what nobody teaches us really, usually. Right?
Mm. Generally.
And then, as we do that, generally, as we do that, we start stepping out of the victimhood. You know, and again, there's nothing wrong like feeling like a victim, because at some point in your lives you were victimized. Mm. And maybe more points in your lives. Mm. And that's okay. However, the goal is to eventually be able to step out into your full agency, you know, and mastery. So you're not a victim anymore. But if you can love even that feeling of victimhood, that's okay. That's where the transformation happens. As Ivan says always, allow, accept with gratitude, and then let go. And that's the movement for everything. For everything, whatever is happening, allow, accept, love it, be grateful for it. And that's how it transforms and it shifts. And I'm, recently I've had lots of clients who are talking, and yesterday I had 2 of them who were talking about, 3 of them, about how they were wounded by mother, father, and now by their partner, boyfriend. This one just left her partner. That one is leaving her husband. And it's, yes, we wound each other because we are wounded. That's what happens, you know. Wounded people keep inflicting wounds. They say hurt people hurt people. It's true. But what we really want to invite you is to imagine. And that's the principle we really try to live on as a couple, as the 2 of us. Try and yes. Most often succeed, not always. Imagine what it would be like to live with full acceptance, with assuming full responsibility for your life, without blaming others for where you are at and what's happening. And again, that doesn't mean feeling guilty and you know, beating yourself up, mea culpa, maxima culpa. It's not about that, right? It's about, if I'm fully responsible, that means I'm the agency inside. What can I change? What can I do? How did I contribute to this? I asked the client yesterday who told me she left her partner because he cheated on her. And I said, you're going to hate me for the next question, but I'm going to say it anyway. How did you contribute to it? She's like, you're going to blame me for the fact that he cheated? I said, no, I'm not blaming you. He's a sovereign being and he is responsible for his actions, of course. That's like, there's no need to discuss that. That goes without saying. But what was your contribution? She said, what makes you think that was my contribution, that I contributed? I said, because his cheating didn't happen in a social vacuum. It happened in the relationship with you. So it's impossible that you didn't contribute in some way. See what I mean? Yeah. And all of you here are here because you want to take responsibility for your lives and for who you are in the world and what you stand for in the world and how what you contribute to the world. And for that, I congratulate you, and for that I honor you and I love you all.
Thank you, Lana.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just from my side, I just want to give you a little story, and then we are gonna go into circle. Can I give a little story? You're looking at me like, what are you gonna do?
What story is he gonna tell?
I'm not gonna talk.
Should I run?
I'm not gonna talk about us, honey. Two angels sitting on a cloud and looking at the world out there. Lots of suffering, lots of anxiety, lots of stress, separation, lots of happiness and joy and giggle. But suffering is prevailing a little bit. And one angel was really deeply thinking, and the other asked him, what are you thinking, brother? He said, I'm thinking about my next life. I want to be born. I want to be born next life on this earth. Experiencing what those people experience. That kind of deep, unhappiness and disconnection from the source. Like, being a victim and being abused and being bullied and all of that. He said, that brother said, wow, what a noble task, what a noble journey. I mean, you are such a beautiful soul, brother. Wow, I'm so stunned. Hey, I just came to idea, you want to be abused, and I love you so much. I love you so much. You know what? I'm going to be born next time as your abuser. He said, you're going to do that for me, brother? He said, yeah, you love me so much. You will love each other so much.
I'm going to volunteer to provide you with the lesson that you've chosen because I love you.